Morning, folks. Brian. I had an RQG game last night. Woohoo! Session 3 of my second campaign, Stranger in Strange Land. The first chapter is called A New Beginning. And while I use a technique I learned from DM's Block, they're a podcast about using Magic the Gathering cards. You pull 3 random cards, and the first one is who, the second one's what, and the third one's where. But I deal 9 out like a tarot, and flip them based on dice rolls, make it random, and I use those to do the 3 chapters that I have for my campaigns. Now, my first campaign, I did that with. The third chapter actually opened up an avenue to essentially a complete new, 3 extra chapters. So I had that all, drawn out, not in depth or anything. I had all through 3 fairly well developed, because I'll pick stuff from D&D modules that I have, Ironclad Middle Earth stuff that I have. I think. Oh, and then there's some generic third-party D&D modules that I have. I've even got some Pendragon stuff I could pull out if I wanted. And for that matter, I've got a couple of Stormbringer scenarios that I could use if I really wanted to get weird. But anyway, I take those things and I convert them to RQG. I'm still working through some of the issues with that, specifically with the way RQG characters are developed. I'm trying to run something parallel, but essentially you've got people in Glorantha who are growing from 18 to 21 in the character generation piece, right? That's just 3 years with this massive amount of skill percentages, like 100 and something, and then they're different for different occupations. The shaman gets the most, by the way, with his block. 35 here, or 30 here, 25 there, 10, 10, 10, 10, a 15 and a 5, that kind of stuff, right? To which I have to admit, I preferred the RQ3 from Avalon Hill version, where you had an occupation that gave you certain percentages that they got every year. So it was really easy to, postulate an NPC who's, 35, not 21, because it just builds up. Now, you get to issues when skills get to 75, and then again when they get close to 100, and I had my own internal mechanic to take care of that. But with RQG, you get this, 100 something percentages for the first 3 years, and then if you want to add 10 years onto that, according to the character creation, you get just a handful of percentages. That makes no sense whatsoever. It's not like you stop learning, and then going through, end of season phase, you've got, everything you check during an adventure, which is usually a decent amount, and then just 4 other skills. That's not a lot of progression, but I think the intent for that was to slow down the massive skill increases that happened with the old RQ2 and probably RQ3 for that matter, where guys are out gathering treasure and they're going through training every month, and they're ranking up all their percentages 75 really quick, that kind of thing. So I'm not sure, but then there's this whole piece of hitting rune level really soon compared to what we used to do, where we almost couldn't get to rune level. So there's this dichotomy of things I'm trying to deal with as I'm creating my material, whether from scratch or from other stuff. Well, anyway, for Stranger in Strange Land, I've got my 3 chapters mapped out, right? And the first one, I was able to tie in to one of the adventures in the GM Masters or GM the Game Master Adventures book, and then I need something at Clearwine for when they came back. What do we do next? We're here, and I couldn't do the Broken Tower. I actually thought about that, but I can't do the Broken Tower because I know at least one of the players has done that, so I don't want to have that metagamey stuff happen. So, I had them do the Fainting Spirit, the last couple of sessions, right? Because it was something that's local. The party is out doing tribal patrols, and so I actually this week figured, okay, how long is a tribal patrol actually going to take? And it's going to take you 10 days just to patrol along the border of the tribal lands. And so that starts getting, okay, how many people is the queen putting out on these patrols, and do you have a 10-day gap in between? Like I said, she's not going to do that. And there are 200 warriors and room level people in the tribe. 56 days in a season, so essentially every 4 seasons, about every 4 seasons, you as a warrior or room level person are going to lead a patrol. I broke it down just nobles and warriors kind of thing. Are going to lead a patrol. Then there are going to be clan patrols as well, but the Ernaldori clan, it just takes a day to go around that thing. And so I had to rework a lot of our calendar mapping. Here's the start season. I had to rework a lot of our calendar mapping down here at the end of the month and the end of the season, so that I could, okay, we're starting the patrol here, and by how long does it take to get to Dog Rat Valley from Clearwine, and traveling through the wilderness. Well, I may have taken the road up to Fairview, but and then so I'll move this day, move that day, because they spent an extra day out doing that. Okay, the whole patrol takes 10 days. They're due back on this day, but they're a day late. And then session 3 starts the day after that, that kind of thing, right? And then I had an event occur in my head that triggers this next scenario that we're doing. And since we're kind of here at Clearwine, we've got all these RQG adventures I don't have to modify, and my own chapter 1 hunting the week, hunting the week is ties into one of these scenarios. And so I'm just playing with stuff that I've got here that I've done that's in the area. And I did it because I got the map of Dragon Pass pinned up on my wall right in front of me here. So that's how I'm developing things, and how we're going to progress with this next campaign. I'm not sure how many of these RQG adventures I'm going to do up front, especially after this next one. So the scenario I've got set up is going to happen during sea season. We just finished up dark season, and we're going into storm season. So we do a whole bunch of end of season phase stuff for most of this last session. However, my host laptop that I run my Discord out of, and then I put stuff up that I can then show the party that doesn't mess with my own computer doing my stuff, was running updates yesterday. It took over an hour for those updates to run. It is an old machine. So I was not able to record essentially the first half of our session, which was which would only benefit anybody by showing somebody going through the end of season phase. Okay, um, picking your 4 occupation and culture skills in a huge discussion on what that really means. Um, and for my sorcerer, we determined that his sorcery spells count as occupation spells because he was a philosopher. They also count as cult skills because you pick them up as a Lancromai initiate as well. So he's got them either way, which they're very, very low percentages to begin with. So he needs to get those up as much as possible, or he's spending a lot of time casting those, which the sorcery is kind of designed to do. It's all preparatory stuff. Do stuff way ahead of time. It'll last a week or so or a season if you got that much capability, and then things happen as you go along. There's not really a lot of lightning bolts, fireballs, magic missiles kind of stuff. Yeah. So he's doing that. One of my players is having problems with his PDF online. So he's just taking notes on what he's going to do, and he's going to print the thing off and go through paper. That's what I do. I print stuff off. I use paper. That way I don't have to worry about clicking stuff on my laptop and conflicts and things. So that all happened. End of darkness season, start of storm season. And I kind of had in the back of my head that they wouldn't do anything during storm season. And that I was actually going to have, I've got the old, I guess it's RQ3, Runequest cities just have a random event kind of thing happen for those guys for each player in Clearwine, and I've got at least one player who's in the village outside. That's because he's well, not sure why now. I was kind of time he's an Ngisi worshiper, and so I assumed he would be living by the river kind of thing. Well, anyway, so I kind of offer up to him, okay, do you guys just want to do a quick season, do a bunch of end of season phase, and start doing some other stuff, or do we want to actually do an adventure kind of thing? Because I had found early in the day, because I started thinking as we got closer to game time, maybe I should have something for storm season. End of season phase and a little adventure every season is kind of the intent of the game, right? So, Pegasus Plateau. There is a scenario in Pegasus Plateau. So, spoilers if you're going to watch the rest of this or the live play, which is in the description. It's one of the scenarios out of Pegasus Plateau. That's as far as I'll go, because I know my players sometimes. Oh, they say I got GM musings too. Okay, it's the Rattling Wind out of Pegasus Plateau. It's actually set in the storm season, so hey, good to go. And it's fairly quick, and it actually ties back into our last scenario, which was really cool because it's something that happens in Dog Rat Valley again. But in my campaign mode, we've got the Molding Clan that Queen Laika wants to get back, that the players have inadvertently made successful relationships with, and so that's given her an in to them. And then there's this thing that's happening in the Dog Rat Valley that the clan itself isn't able to deal with. Now, what clan can't deal with something going on in their clan areas, right? I mean, if we look at Ernal Dory from the book system, you've got They've got Vasana, Yanioth, Harmast, and their party. They can take care of everything that's happening in Ernal Dory, right? And that's how all the convention games are all designed, right? So shouldn't there be at least one party worth of adventuring type people in the Nemolding clan? Oh, there should be. But so what I did is I took a couple of adventurers. A couple of warriors went down to Dograt Valley to investigate what was going on. There's something happening. People go, hey, complain to the clan head. He sends a couple people down. They get killed too. So okay, this is bigger than we want. Hey, what about those guys that saved us from the lunar elemental that was destroying the daemon? Yeah, they're good. They know what they're doing. They're smart. Let's see if Queen League will let them come and help us again. So they send a delegation to Clearwine to see Queen League, see if they can get the party to come help them. So they're doing the regular day-to-day stuff. I randomly determined, it's week 3, day 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, week 3, day 6, which is the 20th day of storm season, which is wild day of death week. Now, it turns out the scenario occurs on wild day. However, it's going to take them a couple of days to get to Dogman Valley, so I had to retcon a couple of calendar moves back. So they arrive on Wild Day. So they get there in the morning. So there's stuff going on. The liaison from the clan circle is with them. They get to Dograt Valley. They get to the Stone Inn. They're talking with him, and they're talking with the bar leader, and there's some villagers in there too. And so the villagers, help this guy here. Come, help us defend the village. We gotta do something. We gotta do something. We gotta do something. The clan circle guy and the bartender are trying to answer questions. Hey, the party had a few questions, to get a feel for what's going on. It turns out, now the scenario is designed to make the ducks look suspicious, right? It turns out that not only making the ducks look suspicious, but all the lunar activity from Fainting Spirit starts matching up as well. I couldn't have planned that better myself if I tried. So the party's convinced that either in league with the lunar sorcerer that went through Redbird, or the lunar patrol that they ran into, and they ran into the boy for the Fainting Spirit, or some other lunar influence, all occurred at the same time or sequentially right here. So they're convinced there's a lunar thing going on, which in a way really is. It was kind of cool, right? And so they're asking all kinds of questions about strangers being in the valley. Anybody come through? What have you seen? That kind of, but not recently. No, I mean 5 weeks ago there was that lunar patrol that came through, harassing people, but they took off. Um, so okay, what's the party going to do now? The parties, well, they need to help the villagers defend the village, but they're really convinced they need to go and talk with the ducks. So they split the party. Um, the warrior types stay and help set up the village defenses. The intellectual diplomatic types go and talk with the ducks. Now, I printed this thing off. I should have read through it much earlier, but I was having problems with. I didn't investigate doing the scenario early enough to properly prepare for it. Now I knew the basic line of the thing because I had gotten the free PDF, months ago when it came out free, and so I knew the basic outline. I printed the thing off, but my printer ran out of ink, so I'm missing like the first 4 pages of the scenario. So while I know about the bad guy and the ducks and some other stuff, I don't know about any of the intro stuff. So I've got it up on my other laptop as a PDF because for some reason my screen capture software conflicts with PDFs. If I try to open a PDF, it just spins. It won't do it. So I'm looking over there trying to read stuff off of that while we're discussing stuff and trying to keep up on this whole intro piece, right? It was a complete mess. But the party splits. So Arestra and not Phostor. It starts with a V though. Where are my notes? Never mind. And the new Stormbolt guy. They do some battle skills on setting up barricades and organizing patrols and setting out listening posts and that kind of stuff, right? With the village. And then Lars and Angrolar go forward to go visit with the ducks. So as now the scenario is designed for you to stay and do the village thing first, and then later on go to the ducks. So the scenario is written that one of the villagers is with the PCs when they go. I didn't quite catch that until after they were already there, and I didn't want to retcon it because this Vindal girl or whatever her name is, she's on those first few pages again, so I would know what's going on. So there's some stuff about the lake that the players don't know. That plays in the whole background stuff, but it doesn't really matter because they're too busy dealing with the situation. So, but the ducks see people coming. He's actually got people out, scouts. He's got scouts out to keep because he doesn't trust those humans. They're so disrespectful, and they thank goodness nobody did duck voices. Well, I was only ducks. I didn't do duck voices. So they come. There's the clan head. Right? There's only like 15 of them, right? And a handful of his supporters, farmer guys, beefy duck, that kind of thing, right? Who come towards them. Okay, we're going to intercept you, and it's not that they came to greet them; they came to intercept them. And I tried to. I didn't want to overplay that, but I kind of put that out there for the players. They're coming to intercept you. And so, Lars tries to be friendly and stuff. Hey, but again, the ducks are suspicious of the humans. So let's give them a talking range. Yeah, who are you and what do you want? That kind of thing, right? Being very brusque with them. And I probably should have them make some rolls, but there's some communication going on. Hey, do you know about this? What about that? Have you seen or heard anything? He says, no, I've got patrols out through the land. Plenty of ducks out there, but we haven't seen anything. There is something disturbing the water at night, and I've got some ducks in trees that have felt the earth tremble. Well, how often? Well, maybe every week kind of thing. All right, they keep track on their calendars. This happened this day. This happened this day. Again, but it's always happening on Wild Day or the night of Wild Day, right? So it should at one point become obvious. Excuse me. But it's like the scenario is kind of trying to keep that hidden. Anyway, so they've already got that pinned because they were talking about who's died already. Well, there's the 3 villagers and there's the 2 guys who came to visit, kind of thing, right? So that's 4 weeks of the 5 since the last thing happened with Lunars in this area. So they're tying that all together. So again, eventually get around to every Wild Day, they get the rattling, the disturbing the water seems to happen at night, nearly every night. I didn't piece it together at that time, but I did after a couple of things that happened later on why that's the case. So anyway, they do some discussion and they ask if he has folks that he can send to help defend the village, to help establish better relationships and that kind of thing. The clan chief duck's wife. There was something I read through there about her trying to do good things, kind of deal. So I have her come up and whisper in his ear. He says, "Okay, I can come. I'll see if I can help." That kind of thing. And so they start heading back. Well, they decide to do some searching on the way back, and they find these 2 ruts coming out of the lake. Now, Angrilar, an Angisi worshiper, pulls out his naiad again and says, "Hey, can you talk with the water creatures here and see if there's some kind of monster down there, and what may be going on?" Now we're talking about frogs and fish, mostly fish, some turtles. Not exactly the brightest creatures in the world, right? So she comes back with there's something at the bottom of the lake. Every so often it takes off, I should have added at this point something again I picked up later that it's dangerous. Don't go nowhere near it, kind of thing. And so they then ask her to go search. Now, her search is not that great, so she goes out and she goes searching. She doesn't find anything. At that point, we're getting close to the end of her time frame. So they let her go, and then the discussion among themselves. Why don't you go ahead and you go out and see what you can see? He's got river eyes. He's also got, if he needs to, breathe water, moon spell. So he strips down to skivvies and he swims out there following the tracks. Now, I had understood it was murky, and there's a little phrase point in the scenario about the girl from the village who's supposed to be with them here saying, it's so clear now. And I didn't quite catch that. Because if it's so clear, then why can't they see what's going on, right? But it's because at the bottom of the lake, you've got all the lake vegetation stuff that's in the way of seeing stuff. So he's swimming along, following the tracks. I have him go out for, how deep does this lake get? How far out is this thing in the lake? How deep is it in the lake? It's only 4 meters. That's 12 feet. You can dive that. Anybody who's ever done life-saving merit badge knows about swimming out, surface diving down, grabbing a 5-pound brick or 10-pound brick, getting to the surface and swimming back, right? As quickly as possible. Well, he's just swimming out slowly because he's just kind of watching the thing. He's got no problem swimming out. So I figure he gets, a swim. You make a swim roll every 10 minutes. Now, is he really swimming straight out for 10 minutes? That's a long ways. But this lake is huge. So the question is, how deep is it? Because this thing is 4 meters, 12 feet, roughly, below the surface of the water. Who knows? So I just kind of, okay, yeah, 10 minutes. How far do you swim in 10 minutes? I don't know. Especially when you're going slow and watching what you're doing, that kind of thing. I probably could pull out my mile swim time and start figuring things out. But I didn't think about it at the time. We're at 30 minutes. Sorry, guys. So that's when I start reading ahead again, seeing, okay, what can we see? Okay, it is clear, not murky, sorry, but there's lots of vegetation at the bottom. And then he's following the tracks, and okay, there's something there. So he starts doing the surface dive deal. Gets down there, sees, sure enough, there's some kind of a structure down here. It's about 2 meters wide, 2 meters long, 1.5 meters tall. There are 2 wheels. There's a center post coming out. He surfaced, and then he and Lars talk. Although if it was a 10-minute swim, that would be a very long distance. They have to shout really loud. Maybe they couldn't hear each other. And so Lars asking questions about the post and that kind of thing, and they're looking for footprints or hoof prints or anything. No, there's nothing there. And so Engrilar dives back down, and he starts checking out. Okay, and there's something inside this thing. It doesn't have a top. It's like a box without a top, and yeah, there's something inside. So he goes down, and checks it out. Now, whenever somebody gets close, obviously if you're searching the thing, you get close. There are 2 skeletons in this chariot, and if you get close, one of them grabs you. And that's where we ended. You get a dodge chance, he misses dodge. So the skeletal hand is grabbed Engrilar. That's where we ended the session because we were pushing just past midnight. And there's going to be a combat next. But it's only going to be 2 of them plus a duck. We'll see how well that goes. Happy gaming.